It is 2 a.m. right now. You're staring at the ceiling, or maybe you are staring at a glowing screen, and that familiar heavy pit is sinking into your stomach again. You are thinking to yourself that today was supposed to be the day. You had the perfectly color-coded to-do list, the brand new productivity app set up, and a massive burst of sudden inspiration that hit you out of nowhere last night. But somehow, despite all those intentions, you are right back exactly where you started. You woke up late, you dragged yourself through the same predictable motions, you procrastinated for hours on the exact same assignments, and now you are looking back at a completely wasted afternoon. It feels like you are trapped inside a glitching simulation where the dates on the calendar keep changing, but your actual reality remains entirely frozen. You feel incredibly guilty because you think this is a personal failure. You look around at people online who seem to have their entire lives figured out, and you convince yourself that you are just inherently lazy. But what if I told you that laziness is completely a myth, and your lack of progress has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of willpower? The terrifying truth is that you aren't broken at all. You are just trapped in a psychological loop that is actively designed to keep you stuck, and tonight, we are going to break you out of it. If you look back at your last 3 weeks, they probably blur together into one single, continuous, indistinct mass of time. You remember bits and pieces of lectures, a few random text conversations, and hours of mindlessly scrolling through your phone. But you cannot distinctly differentiate last Tuesday from 3 Thursdays ago. This happens because your brain is a highly advanced machine designed for ultimate survival, and its number one priority is saving energy. When every single day follows the exact same predictable pattern, your brain switches completely into an automated autopilot mode to protect its resources. It stops recording vivid, distinct memories because there is absolutely nothing novel or dangerous happening to justify the energy expenditure. You aren't losing your mind. Your brain is just treating your entire life like a repetitive background task. This creates a deeply frustrating psychological state called chronic monotony, and the moment you fall into it, your dopamine receptors become completely fried. You find yourself sitting at your desk, staring at an essay, a study guide, or a creative project that you genuinely care about, but your brain refuses to cooperate. You physically cannot bring yourself to start because your environment has become a subconscious trigger for boredom and stagnation. Think about the sheer frustration of opening up a document, staring at the blinking cursor for 45 seconds, and instantly feeling an overwhelming wave of exhaustion wash over you. It is not that you lack the intelligence to complete the assignment, and it is not that you do not care about your future grade or your career goals. Because you feel so deeply unmotivated by your regular routine, you start looking for an escape, and you find it in the worst possible place: fake productivity. This is the ultimate trap for students and young creators. You spend 3 hours researching the ultimate morning routine, you download 5 different habit trackers, and you organize your digital workspace until it looks absolutely flawless. You color coordinate your digital calendars, rearrange your Notions pages, and watch hours of aesthetic study with me videos on YouTube. It feels amazing in the moment because planning out a perfect future releases a massive wave of cheap dopamine without requiring you to actually do any real, difficult work. Your brain tricks you into believing that because you are consumed by the thought of work, you're actually making tangible progress toward your goals. You go to bed feeling completely accomplished, convinced that tomorrow is going to be the turning point where everything magically changes. But when tomorrow actually arrives, the initial excitement of the plan has completely evaporated. The reality of the hard work sets in, the friction feels way too high, and your brain immediately retreats right back to its comfortable, automated habits. You end up right back on the couch, watching another self-improvement video to soothe the burning guilt of not executing the plan you just made. You are stuck in a vicious, exhausting cycle of planning, failing, feeling guilty, and planning again. And the worst part is that you are doing it completely to yourself. You become a passive spectator in your own life, watching the days fly by while your potential remains entirely locked away behind a wall of digital noise. To fix this, we have to completely rewrite the way you interact with your daily environment, and we are going to start with an incredibly simple concept called environmental anchors. Right now, your bedroom or your study space is a chaotic psychological minefield. You use your bed for sleeping, but you also use it for scrolling on TikTok, watching Netflix, playing video games, and sometimes trying to study for exams. When you sit on your bed to read a textbook, your brain is getting confusing, conflicting signals that say, this is the place where we zone out and look at memes. To break the loop, you need to create strict, non-negotiable boundaries for your physical spaces. If you are going to waste time on your phone and you must force yourself to do it in a completely different chair, a specific corner of the room, or even out in the living room, your desk must become a sacred space dedicated exclusively to high-focus execution. The moment you feel your attention shifting and you want to procrastinate, you must physically stand up and leave that desk immediately. By enforcing this rule, you train your brain to associate that specific desk with absolute, uninterrupted focus, dropping the internal friction of starting down to almost zero. When your body enters that physical zone, this approach is complete psychological suicide because the sheer size of the expectation creates a mountain of anxiety. Your brain looks at that massive list. You look at your upcoming exam schedule or your creative content calendar, and you realize how far behind you are. Go to the gym for 2 hours, read 50 pages of a book, and completely cut out sugar starting tomorrow morning. Reading a book, reviewing lecture notes, or editing a video cannot possibly compete with the hyper-stimulating rush of a fast-paced social media feed. You are setting yourself up for total failure before your feet even touch the floor. If you want to permanently break out of the daily loop, you must implement a strict 60-minute digital blackout the moment you wake up. No scrolling, no checking messages, and absolutely no mindless consumption. Use that quiet hour to let your brain naturally wake up, drink some water, look out the window, and focus clearly on your primary objective for the day. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.